You think your followers can save you here? Today, I'm going to strip your fake fame off you in front of everyone. Let's see what your daddy's money does then. The line slices through the courtroom like a knife dot. It comes from a woman in a plain navy dress with flowers still faintly dusted on her shoes. Hands shaking but eyes blazing. Her name is Noor Khan. 38 years old. Immigrant. Single mother. Owner of a tiny corner bakery that she built with nothing but burnt fingers. Sleepless nights and every rupee, every dollar she ever saved. Across from her, slouched at the defendant's table like she's backstage at a photo shoot instead of in a courtroom, sits 17-year-old Daisy Collins. If entitlement had a brand ambassador, it would be her. Platinum blonde hair in perfect waves. Oversized designer hoodie, logo huge on the front like a billboard. Nails so long and jeweled they catch the light every time she scrolls her phone. No respect, no fear, no shame. Her face is familiar not because she's a movie star, but because she's everywhere online. 3 million TikTok followers. 500,000 on Instagram. Daughter of Senator Richard Collins. The family values politician who loves talking about responsibility and hard work on TV. Today, his daughter is being sued for $9,400 in damages. Next to Daisy stands her mother, Victoria Collins, impeccably dressed, stiff posture, every hair in place like she's about to step into a press conference. Her heels probably cost more than Noor's monthly rent, but her fingers clenched around a leather handbag betray the truth. They're shaking. She knows something, and she's terrified. It's about to come out. The reason they're all here is what happened 2 months ago. On a rainy Thursday that changed Noor's life in a single night, her bakery, Noor's Oven, is small but warm, tucked on a side street near a high school. Students come for cheap coffee and pastries. Old men come for chai. Young moms come for birthday cakes. Every inch of that place carries Noor's fingerprints, the hand-painted menu, the framed photo of her late father above the counter, the old radio in the corner playing soft music in Urdu when the customers thin out. That night, Noor closed shop at 10 p.m. like always. She swept the floor, covered the dough for the next morning, locked the front door, checked it twice. Habit. Born from years of struggle and fear of losing everything. By midnight, her bakery was a war zone. An online challenge had been trending for weeks. #FlowerStorm. Rich kids, influencer wannabes, bored teens breaking into restaurants after hours, blasting flour, eggs, and icing all over the place, filming it, laughing, then disappearing. Their followers called it epic content. The owners just called the police. A group of private school kids decided Noor's little bakery would make the perfect backdrop. Daisy was the ringleader. Her friends followed her through the back alley like she was leading them onto a red carpet. One of them knew how to pop the back door lock with a butter knife. Another filmed everything in 4K. They stormed inside, turned on the lights, squealed about aesthetic vibes, then went to work. They tore open 50-pound bags of flour and launched them into the air like confetti. They grabbed trays of prepared dough and hurled them at the walls. They poured sugar over the counters, cracked dozens of eggs onto the floor, sprayed colored frosting onto the ceiling. They decorated the glass display case by smashing cupcakes into it, laughing as icing smeared like blood. The whole time, Daisy posed in the center of the destruction, dancing, twirling, flipping her hair. At one point, she slid across the flour-coated floor on her designer socks, nearly knocking over Noor's father's framed photo from its hook. When they were done, they filmed a slow-motion shot of Daisy blowing flour from her hands straight into the camera, laughing so hard she couldn't breathe. Then they ran. When Noor arrived the next morning at 5 a.m., the smell hit her first, a sour chemical mix of raw egg, spoiled milk, and cleaning supplies from the topple closet. Then she saw it, white flour coating every surface like dirty snow. Oven smeared with dough. Industrial mixers jammed. Display glass cracked. The fridge door hanging off its hinges. The register pulled onto the floor, coins scattered everywhere like an insult. Her father's photo was face down, splattered with icing and footprints. She dropped to her knees right there in the middle of the wreckage and sobbed. That morning, instead of serving her regular customers, She stood outside her own shop with a handwritten sign, closed indefinitely due to vandalism. For Noor, this wasn't just about a mess. The estimate came back brutal: $9,400 to replace damaged equipment, deep clean food surfaces, repair the fridge, rewire parts of the kitchen where sugar and liquid had seeped into outlets. And that didn't count 3 weeks of lost income. For Noor, $9,400 might as well have been $100,000. For Daisy, it was a number with no meaning. Noor's neighbor's security camera caught them in the alley. Police linked one of the kids, then another. And then they found the video. Daisy had posted a heavily edited, glamorized clip on her private spam account. Arrogant caption: support small businesses. With free flower decor, followed by a string of laughing emoji. I saw it. It took less than 24 hours for Noor and her lawyer to connect the dots. And now they're here. Judge Judy Files, silver hair pulled tight, glasses low on her nose, eyes so sharp they could slice concrete, shuffles the case file on her bench. She's not Judge Judy, but if you squint, the energy is the same. Lethal, no nonsense. Allergic to bullshit. She's watched the video. She's seen the photos. She's read the estimate. And as she looks over her glasses at the silk-wrapped girl sitting at the defense table, something hardens in her expression. Daisy? She's smiling. Actually smiling. She whispers to her friend in the back row and snickers, eyes flicking to Noor like this is all some live event she's trending. And Judge Harris notices everything. The eye rolls, the smirks, the way Daisy hasn't even bothered to put her phone completely away. She also notices Noor's trembling hands and the way her shoulders hunch as if she's bracing for another hit. Maybe not from Daisy this time, but from one more system that might decide rich kids get a slap on the wrist, while women like her rebuild from ashes. And then there's Victoria Collins, her perfect lipstick, her stiff smile, the expensive shawl draped over her arm like armor. She hasn't sat down since they walked in, hovering behind her daughter like a shadow. Twice already she's opened her mouth to say something, then shut it, lips pressed together so tightly they've gone white. Judge Harris sees the guilt, the fear, and under that, the exhaustion of a woman who has been holding up a rotten structure for years, afraid that if she admits one crack, the whole house will fall. What happens next in that courtroom will not be about flour, or some harmless prank, or even about $9,400. This is going to be about what happens when a young girl grows up believing the world is just a backdrop for her content, and what it costs when her parents keep cleaning up the mess. If you're still here, don't move, because the way Daisy decides to talk to this judge, the way her mother finally stops protecting her, and the sentence Judge Harris hands down, it's the kind of justice that doesn't just go viral. It sticks in your throat. And for Daisy Collins, it's about to change everything she thinks she knows about money, fame, and what respect really costs. Asterisk. Good morning, Judge Harris says, voice clipped. Case of Noor Kane versus Daisy Collins. Claim for $9,400 in property damage and lost income. Ms. Collins, this is not TikTok. This is a court of law. I want clear answers, not performances. Her eyes lock on Daisy. We'll start with you. Ms. Collins, in your own words, tell me what happened at Ms. Khan's bakery the night of March 12th. Daisy barely adjusts her posture. She leans on the podium like she's talking to a friend's camera. Okay, so, first of all, it wasn't that serious, she says, voice dripping with casual attitude. There was this trend going around, right? Restaurants and stuff doing flower explosions. It's viral everywhere. My friends wanted to do our own version. We thought the bakery was closed. Nobody was there. It's not like we hurt anyone. Noor flinches. Continue. Judge Harris says, we got in through a door that was already kind of open. Daisy lies, waving her hand. We just threw some flour, cracked some eggs, messed around for 10 minutes. It was just for content. We cleaned a little. I swear it didn't look that bad when we left. Asterisk liar. On the monitor beside the bench, the still image of the shattered bakery looks like a natural disaster. Powder and shards and slime everywhere. And this video Ms. Khan's attorney submitted, Judge Harris says, lifting a page, where you captioned it, support small businesses with free flower decor, and tagged 3 of your friends. Was that posted by you? Daisy shifts, annoyed. It was on my private account, she says. Only my close friends could see. Somebody screenshotted it and leaked it. I've already taken it down. So, can we not be dramatic? It's just stuff. It can be cleaned. Judge Harris removes her glasses slowly. That tiny movement makes the air in the room freeze. Miss Collins, she says quietly, do you understand the difference between stuff and someone's entire livelihood? Daisy shrugs. I mean, yeah, but it's not like I'm the only one responsible. There were 8 of us there. Why am I the only one here? Her mother shifts uncomfortably behind her. She knows exactly why. Because you were clearly the instigator, Judge Harris says. You opened the door. You led the others inside. You posed in the center of the destruction. You posted the video. You turned someone's business into your film set. That makes you very responsible. Daisy huffs. We offered to pay for some of it, she mutters. My dad's office reached out. $10,000 as a goodwill thing, so she didn't have to do all this. Every eye in the room snaps to NOOR. Judge Harris turns to her. Is that true, Miss Khan? Did someone from the Collins family offer you money before this case? Noor straightens her back. Her voice shakes, but her words are clear. Yes, Your Honor. A man from Senator Collins' campaign called me. He said they were sorry about the incident and offered $10,000 if I signed a paper saying I wouldn't file a lawsuit or speak to any media. He said it would be better for everyone if this stayed private, and you refused. Yes, Your Honor. And not for sale. Daisy rolls her eyes so hard it looks like she might hurt herself. Can I talk now? Noor asks softly. Judge Harris nods. Go ahead. Noor walks to the center, clutching a folder of photos and receipts. She doesn't look at Daisy. She looks at the judge, at the cameras, at the people in the room who might never know what it means to risk everything for one small shop. This bakery, she begins, is not just a shop. It's my second chance. I came to this country 10 years ago with nothing. I worked in other people's kitchens, washing dishes until my hands cracked. I saved every dollar. When my father died back home, I promised him on the phone I would open my own place one day, with his photo inside so he could see it. Her voice wavers. She holds up a picture of the bakery before the attack. Warm lights, colorful pastries, her smiling behind the glass. That night, they didn't just make a mess. They destroyed equipment I cannot just replace. My mixer motor burned out from all the flour they threw inside it. My fridge compressor died because egg and liquid spilled into the back. The health inspector said I had to do a full sanitation. Do you know what that costs for someone like me, Your Honor? She flips through documents. $5,800 for repairs and replacement. $3,600 in lost income for 3 weeks of closure. That's $9,400 I do not have. She swallows, then raises another photo. This one breaks the room. Her father's picture face down in a pile of frosting. Boot print across the glass. They knocked this off the wall, Noor says quietly. They stepped on my father's face. They laughed. They filmed it. A murmur ripples through the gallery. Even some of Daisy's friends shift uncomfortably during Noor's testimony. Daisy is half listening, half staring at the ceiling like she's heard enough. At one particularly emotional moment, she leans toward her mother and whispers something. Smirking, Judge Harris catches it. Miss Collins, she snaps. If you have something to say it loudly enough for everyone to hear. Daisy straightens, unbothered. I just said, she replies, that she's being a little dramatic. Like this is a sob story for the cameras. It's not that deep. Insurance exists for a reason. The courtroom goes dead quiet. Noor closes her eyes, hurt flickering across her face. Judge Harris pinches the bridge of her nose. Ms. Khan, do you have any other evidence? Yes, Your Honor. She hands over a USB drive. The security footage and the full version of the video Ms. Collins posted. My nephew found it before she deleted it. The video plays on the monitor. No music, no edits. Just raw chaos. Flower explosions. Screams. Laughter that sounds feral when the sound is stripped of filters. They see Daisy grab Nora's father's photo, pretend to kiss it, then fling it backward. The glass shatters off screen. She howls with laughter, then does a mock bow. Then comes the caption they didn't see before. Frozen on the screen. Ups, someone call immigration. The bakery is closed. Gasps explode in the room. It's not just vandalism now. It's contempt. For Nora's work. For her background. For everything she is. Daisy shifts, suddenly restless. For the first time, a flash of worry moves across her face. Not remorse. Worry for herself. When the video ends, there's a heavy silence. Miss Collins. Judge Harris says slowly, "Do you have anything to say about that?" Daisy licks her lips, buying time. "It was a joke," she insists. "Nobody was supposed to see that. People say stuff online all the time. It doesn't mean anything." She crosses her arms, leaning back again. "Trying to recover her cool and imitating me," Judge Harris adds, pulling out a printed still frame from the video, waving your finger at the camera, saying, "I'm the judge, guilty of bad frosting. You think that's funny too?" A few of Daisy's friends titter in the back until the bailiff shoots them a look that shuts them up. Daisy shrugs. "It got views," she says. "That's what matters." Judge Harris leans back in her chair, slowly removing her glasses. "Views," she repeats. "That's what matters." She looks past Daisy, straight at Victoria Collins. Double quotes, "Mrs. Collins," she says suddenly, "I'd like to hear from you now. Please step forward." Victoria looks like someone just ripped a mask off her face. She wasn't expecting this. Her eyes dart to her daughter, who is already shaking her head violently. She doesn't need to. Daisy starts. "Sit down." "Miss Collins," Judge Harris cuts in. "Your mother is about to answer some questions you clearly don't want asked. What Victoria is about to say won't just determine the outcome of this case. It's going to drag out years of secrets, hush money, and a pattern of behavior so ugly that, for the first time in her 17 perfect years, Daisy will have nowhere left to hide." Victoria Collins moves to the witness stand like she's walking on glass. Every step looks like it hurts. She takes the oath with a trembling hand. Her eyes are glossy, but she blinks back the tears. Senator's wife. Media trained. Built for pressure. But nothing in her life has prepared her for this. Telling the truth about her own daughter in public. "Mrs. Collins," Judge Harris begins. More gently now. "Were you aware of your daughter's participation in the so-called flower storm incident before the police contacted you?" Victoria nods slowly. "Not the same night, Your Honor. But yes. I found out the next morning. One of Daisy's friends' parents called me in a panic. The video was already circulating in their school group chats." "And what did you do?" Victoria glances at Daisy, who's glaring hatred at her from the defense table. "I confronted my daughter," she says. "She told me it was just a joke, that they all do it, that the bakery was small and she'd get over it." Her voice tightens on that last phrase. "I called my husband," she continues. "He was furious. Not at Daisy. At the possibility of press finding out. He immediately called his chief of staff, then our lawyer. They told us to handle it quickly and quietly. Get ahead of it. So his office made the offer to Miss Kane. The $10,000, Judge Harris says. Double quotes, "Yes, Your Honor." "I didn't speak to Miss Khan myself. I should have. I was a coward. Is this the first time your daughter has been involved in this kind of incident?" Judge Harris asks. The question hangs. Heavy. Daisy hisses, "Mom, shut up," under her breath. "You don't have to say anything. This is about the bakery, not Miss Collins," Judge Harris snaps. "I warned you. One more interruption and you'll be out of this courtroom. Sit, quiet." The bailiff steps closer. Daisy slams back into her seat, furious. Victoria looks down at her hands. When she speaks again, it comes out like a confession, asterisk. "No, Your Honor. This is not the first time." "Explain," Judge Harris says calmly. "There was an incident at her private school last year," Victoria says. "She and some other girls filled another student's locker with rotten food. They recorded the reaction and posted it. The girl, her name is Mia, had a panic attack in the hallway. Her clothes were ruined. She didn't come back to school for 2 weeks. A murmur goes through the courtroom. What were the consequences? The judge asks. The school started disciplinary hearings. Mia's parents threatened to go to the press. My husband stepped in. He met with the headmaster, made a large donation to the scholarship fund. The school asked Mia to sign an agreement not to speak publicly about it in exchange for certain accommodations. Daisy was given community service hours. We let her count them by helping decorate for a school dance. Decorating for a dance. For driving a girl to a breakdown. What else? Judge Harris says, eyes never leaving Victoria. There was a shoplifting matter when she was 15, Victoria whispers. She took designer makeup and jewelry from a boutique. Got caught on camera, but the manager called us instead of the police. My husband paid triple the value and convinced him not to file a report. We grounded her for a weekend. Then she got invited to a brand event and we let her go. We didn't want to stifle her opportunities. The sarcasm in her own voice cuts. She crashed a friend's car. She continues, voice gaining momentum now that the dam has cracked. Texting while driving. Hit a parked vehicle. We paid. We fixed. We spun every time. We told ourselves we were protecting her future. Daisy is shaking with fury. You are such a liar, she spits. You're twisting everything. You're making me sound like a criminal. Victoria finally looks at her daughter. Really looks, asterisk. You humiliated a hardworking woman online for likes, she says quietly. You walked into her life and smashed it for fun. This is not me twisting anything, Daisy. This is who you've become. Daisy launches to her feet. You're enjoying this, aren't you? She screams. You're loving playing victim in front of the cameras. You're just mad because my followers care more what I say than what your stupid charity speeches do. Sit down. Judge Harris roars. The bailiff steps in, hand hovering near Daisy's shoulder, ready to force her down if needed. Daisy glares but drops back into the chair, breathing hard. Eyes red with rage. Judge Harris turns back to Victoria. Why are you telling me all of this now? She asks. You didn't have to answer my question that honestly. Most parents wouldn't. Why are you? Victoria's shoulders sag. Then, slowly, she straightens. For the first time since she walked in, her spine isn't bent by shame. It's held up by something else, resolve. Because I finally understand what we've done, she says. We raised our daughter to believe that consequences are optional. That her father's position, our money, her fame, would always erase what she did. We taught her that other people's pain is just a PR issue. That if you pay enough, nothing is ever really your fault. Tears spill down her cheeks now, ruining her perfect makeup. When that bakery video came out, she continues, I watched it alone in my bedroom. I saw her laughing as she destroyed that woman's life. I saw her mocking an immigrant, mocking the very kinds of people my husband claims to fight for in his speeches. And for the first time, I didn't just see a child making a mistake. I saw a person we had created. And I was horrified. Her voice hardens. She came into my room later that night, still laughing. She said, Don't stress, Mom. Dad will fix it like always. They'll take the money and shut up. She called Miss Khan, bakery lady, and said she was lucky to get any attention out of this. Victoria looks at Noor now, eyes full of apology. I'm so sorry, she whispers. Noor nods, tears in her own eyes, but says nothing. Judge Harris lets the silence hang, heavy, suffocating. Finally, she asks the question that changes everything. Double quotes Mrs. Collins. What do you want from this court? Victoria inhales deeply. When she exhales, it sounds like 7 years of denial leaving her body. I want you to do what we never had the courage to do, she says. Stop us from saving her. Don't let us pay our way out this time. Don't let us turn this into another check we write and forget. Please, Your Honor, give her the one thing our money never could, a real consequence. Daisy breaks. You're the worst mother in the world. She screams. I hate you. I'm never forgiving you for this. You're dead to me. The words explode in the room like a bomb. The judge's gavel slams. Enough. The bailiff moves in front of Daisy, blocking her path in case she tries to charge forward. She's shaking, chest heaving, tears of pure fury spilling down her face. Judge Harris looks at her, then at Noor, then at Victoria. In all my years on this bench, she says slowly, I have rarely heard a parent admit what you just did. Mrs. Collins. She leans forward, and I have rarely seen a 17-year-old this convinced that the world is nothing more than her stage. She picks up her pen. What she's about to say next will not just decide whether Noor's bakery can reopen. It will decide whether Daisy Collins keeps coasting on money and followers or finally crashes headfirst into reality. Asterisk. The courtroom feels like it's holding its breath. Judge Harris taps her pen against the file one last time, then sets it down with finality. Legally, she says, this case is straightforward. Miss Collins, you trespassed, you vandalized. You caused extensive damage documented by photographs, estimates, and your own video evidence. You are entirely responsible for Miss Khan's losses. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $9,400. Noor exhales shakily, relief and fatigue washing over her all at once. She grabs the edge of the plaintiff's table to steady herself. Daisy scoffs. Whatever, she mutters. My dad will wire it this afternoon. Can we be done? Judge Harris turns her head slowly and looks at her. You still don't understand, she says quietly. You truly don't. She lifts her eyes to Victoria. Double quotes Mrs. Collins, she says. You testified that your daughter receives money from you and your husband. How does that work? Victoria swallows. She gets a monthly allowance. $2,000. Plus income from brand deals that we manage for her and access to credit cards. A car? Yes, Your Honor. She has a car. Our cards are on file for her accounts. Judge Harris nods. Not anymore. Daisy laughs once, disbelieving. Sorry, what? Here's what's going to happen, Judge Harris says, voice suddenly steel. I am entering judgment not against Senator Collins, not against Mrs. Collins, against you, Miss Daisy Collins. Personally, you will pay Miss Kane every cent of that $9,400 from your own earnings. Not $1 will come from your parents. Not $1 will come from a campaign fund. Not $1 will come from a brand deal. That's impossible, Daisy snaps. I don't have that kind of money. Of course you don't, Judge Harris replies. Because you have never had to work for it. She looks at Victoria. Double quotes Mrs. Collins. Do you agree on the record to suspend your daughter's allowance, revoke her access to your credit cards, and remove her car keys until this judgment is satisfied from her own labor? Victoria's jaw trembles, but her answer is firm. Yes, Your Honor. I agree. Daisy whirls on her. You can't be serious. How am I supposed to go anywhere? How am I supposed to film content? My audience will die if I disappear. They'll survive, Judge Harris says dryly. You, on the other hand, might not survive 1 month in the real world without a ring light. A few people in the gallery choke back laughs. As of today, the judge continues, you will get a job. A real job. Not posing with products, not unboxing PR packages. You will apply to grocery stores, diners, cleaning services, any place that will have you. You will punch a clock. You will take orders. You will earn minimum wage or close to it. And every paycheck, every single one, will go toward repaying what you stole from Miss Khan. Her time, her peace, her ability to keep her business open. You can't force me to work, Daisy snarls. This is abuse of power. My dad will, your father, Judge Harris cuts in, is free to scream into as many microphones as he likes. He cannot change a civil judgment entered in this courtroom without a legal basis. I am well within my rights to decide how and when this debt is to be repaid. You want to sit at home and refuse to work? Fine, this debt will hang over your head. It will destroy your credit the moment you turn 18. You like deals? Try getting a phone contract with a judgment against you. Asterisk. Daisy's face drains of color. And we're not done, Judge Harris adds. How is this not done? Daisy practically yells. You already... Stop talking, Daisy, Victoria whispers harshly. Please. Judge Harris doesn't even look at Daisy when she delivers the next blow. In addition to the financial judgment, she says, you will complete 150 hours of community service. Daisy's laugh is hollow. At some boring old charity where I can post cute volunteer pics. Fine. No, Judge Harris says. At places you would never choose on your own. First, 50 hours at a commercial cleaning company. The kind that comes in when restaurants have floods or infestations. You will scrub floors, scrape grease, haul trash. You will see what it actually takes to fix the kind of damage you caused in 10 stupid minutes. Daisy visibly recoils. Second, the judge continues, 50 hours at a small business support center. You will sit with real owners, people like Ms. Khan who are trying to navigate permits, rent increases, and survival. You will listen. You will type their applications, bring them coffee, file their papers. You will learn that content is not the center of the universe. And the last 50? Noor asks softly, surprising even herself. Judge Harris nods to her. The remaining 50 hours, she says, will be completed at Miss Can's bakery. The room goes absolutely silent. Daisy's eyes almost pop out of her head. No way, she barks. Absolutely not. I'm not going into her stupid little Miss Collins, the judge says sharply. You turned her bakery into your playground. Now you will help her rebuild it. You will mop her floors, wash her trays, frost her cupcakes. You will come in before school, after school, on weekends, whenever she and the schedule agree. And you will do it politely. One complaint, one tantrum, and I will have this entire judgment certified and expanded with penalties you don't even have the imagination to fear. You can't make me around her. Daisy almost sobs. She hates me. Noor looks at her for the first time since the beginning. I don't hate you, she says quietly. I hate what you did. There is a difference. Maybe one day you'll see it. Judge Harris picks up her pen again. Asterisk. All of these terms, she says, will be written into the judgment. Mrs. Collins, do you agree to enforce them? No car, no allowance, no paid content trips until every hour and every dollar is done? Victoria nods. There are tears on her cheeks, but her eyes are steady. Yes, Your Honor. I agree, fully. Daisy shakes her head violently, looking like she might come apart. You're disgusting. She spits at her mother. Both of you. You're ruining my life. For what? For some boring bakery? Do you know how many people would die to be in my position? Do you know what this will do to my brand? Judge Harris gives a thin, cold smile. Maybe your brand needs to die, she says. So a person can be born? The gavel comes down hard. Judgment for the plaintiff, $9,400 plus 150 hours of community service, as stated. Case dismissed. Daisy storms out, sobbing and cursing under her breath, already dialing her father. Her voice echoes back into the courtroom. Dad, she's insane. Mom totally betrayed me. You have to fix this right now. By the time Noor gathers her papers, Senator Collins is in the hallway. Red-faced, suit jacket half off, jabbing fingers at his wife as they argue in harsh whispers that are not as quiet as they think. Noor walks past them without stopping. Victoria catches her eye and whispers, "Thank you. For not taking the money. For making us face this." Noor nods once. "Thank you," she replies, surprising herself, "for finally letting her." The cameras will edit this into 10 sharp minutes of drama, but the real story isn't in the gavel. It's in the 6 months that come after. 6 months where a girl who weaponized flour for fun is about to learn what it feels like when it's your own sweat and tears that hit the floor. Asterisk. The internet does what it always does, within days. The clip hits every platform. Senator's influencer daughter destroyed in court by small business owner. Millions of views. Comment section split between "she deserved it" and "this is too harsh." Old photos of Daisy at charity galas resurface, now plastered with clown emojis. Brands quietly start ghosting her emails. One sends a carefully worded message. Given recent events, we will not be renewing our partnership. Others simply vanish. At school, the kids who used to orbit her like planets around a sun suddenly find new galaxies. No one wants to be attached to the scandal that made the evening news. Her phone still blows up, but now it's mostly strangers calling. Her name she's never had to hear in real life. The first job is the hardest. Every fancy place turns her down. They've seen the video. The managers don't want the headache. It's a 24-hour grocery store. Floors dull and sticky under neon lights. That finally says yes. The manager, a tired woman with dark circles under her eyes, barely glances at Daisy's follower count. You'll be on cleaning crew, she says. Mopping, restocking, bathroom checks. Nights and weekends. Can you handle that? Daisy wants to scream. No. But the memory of Judge Harris saying credit destroyed taunts her. So she nods. The first time she scrubs a toilet at 11:30 p.m. Wearing a cheap green vest instead of a sponsored outfit. She feels something new. Humiliation that actually hurts. No cameras. No filters. No comments telling her she's queen. Just the smell of bleach and the sound of someone vomiting in the next stall. The paychecks come in. They are pathetically small compared to the numbers her father casually spends on suits. Every time she hands one to her parents to forward to Noor's lawyer, it stings. But the number on the debt slowly shrinks. 9,400. 8,700. 7,950. Then the community service starts. The cleaning company is worse than the grocery store. They drag her into greasy kitchens at 2 a.m. after bars close. She scrapes black sludge out of drains. She vacuums roaches from behind refrigerators. She mops up rancid water after a pipe break in a basement restaurant. The smell so strong it clings to her hair for days. One night, they answer a call to a bakery across town that had a minor fire in an oven. Daisy watches the owner, eyes red from smoke and tears, hovering over charred trays, whispering, "I don't know how I'll open tomorrow." For a second, she sees Noor's face overlaid there. She doesn't sleep well that night. The small business support center is different. She's bored at first. Paperwork, phone calls, scheduling appointments. But then she starts listening. A barbershop owner talks about rent tripling. A daycare provider agonizes over safety inspections. A food truck couple describes getting turned away from festivals because they don't fit the aesthetic. They're not content. They're people. Sweating over spreadsheets, worrying more about electricity bills than like counts. More than once, someone looks her in the eye and says, "You're young. Don't ever start a business. It'll kill you." She thinks of Noor, up at 4 a.m. kneading dough, and then finally comes the day she dreads and longs for at the same time. Her first shift at Noor's oven. The sign on the door is new and polished. Reopening under the same ownership. Thank you for your support. The windows are spotless. The inside smells like sugar and cardamom. Her heart hammers as she pushes the door open. Noor is behind the counter, piping frosting onto cupcakes with steady hands. The framed photo of her father is back on the wall, glass repaired. Hanging a little higher than before. Daisy stands there in her plain t-shirt and jeans, court papers folded in her pocket. Suddenly very aware of how small she feels, Noor looks up. Their eyes meet. For a second, Daisy expects yelling, or a slap, or for Noor to tell her to get out. Instead, Noor just nods toward the back. "Aprons are on the hook," she says. "Hands washed. We start with dishes." That's it. No speech. No dramatic forgiveness. Just work. Daisy scrubs pans until her wrists ache. The metal is hot, the water hotter. She stacks clean trays, wipes counters, refills sugar jars. Customers trickle in, some of them whispering when they recognize her. One older woman mutters to Noor, "How can you let that girl in here?" Noor answers quietly, "Because if she doesn't learn here, she may never learn anywhere." Hours pass. Flour coats Daisy's forearms again, but this time not as a joke. This time it doesn't wash off as easily. Between rushes, Noor teaches her how to measure ingredients, how to fill batter without knocking out all the air, how to box cakes so they don't smudge. Daisy fumbles, gets annoyed. sighs loudly more than once, but she keeps showing up, because if she doesn't, that judgment sits there like a weight around her neck. Because her mother refuses to give her keys. Because deep inside, some tiny part of her wants to see that number hit 0, just to prove she can do it. One evening, after a long shift, Nora locks the front door and flips the sign to closed. Daisy is wiping down the last table when she notices Nora standing under her father's photo. Looking up at it, I laughed. Daisy blurts out suddenly. When I knocked it down, I thought it was funny. I don't think it's funny now. Nora turns, surprised. I know, she says. I saw. Daisy swallows. The word tastes strange in her mouth. I'm sorry. Not just because I got caught. I'm sorry because I think I understand now. A little. Nora studies her for a long moment. I don't need you to understand my whole life, she says softly. I just need you to stop treating it like a prop. They stand there in the quiet, the hum of the fridge the only sound. 6 months after that gavel slammed, the debt is finally paid. Every dollar. Every hour. No magical transformation happened overnight. Daisy still rolls her eyes sometimes. She still checks her reflection too often. She still hates the smell of bleach, but something is different. Her social feeds are quieter now. Fewer brand deals, fewer fake friends. More mundane photo sunrises seen from the bakery door. A perfectly frosted cupcake she decorated herself. A caption that simply reads, "Work, real work." Her audience shrank, but the ones who stayed, they comment things like, "Proud of you for owning it," instead of just "slay queen." Her father still doesn't talk about the case on camera, but at home, his voice has softened when he talks to Nora at community events. His eyes linger a little longer on his daughter when she leaves for a shift in old sneakers instead of new heels. Her mother? Their relationship is scarred but not shattered. Therapy. Screaming matches. Long silences. And slowly, the tiniest seeds of something new. Respect. And Nora? She rebuilt her bakery. New oven, repaired fridge, reorganized shelves. She framed the court judgment and keeps it in the back office, not as a trophy, but as a reminder. Not every story like hers ends with justice. She knows that. She's seen too much to be naive, but this one did. One day, as Daisy finishes a shift, wipes her hands, and heads to the door, Nora calls out, "Daisy." She turns. "Yeah." Nora nods toward a tray of fresh cookies. "Take some for the road," she says. "For your mother." Daisy hesitates, then grabs a small box. "Thanks," she mumbles as she leaves. The bell above the door jingles softly. Somewhere out there, people are still watching the 10-minute clip of her worst day. Replaying the moment she called an immigrant bakery lady. Sharing, judging, laughing. They'll never see this part. The late nights. The scrubbed floors. The quiet apologies, but that's okay. Because as Judge Harris said at the end of that hearing, not to the cameras, not for the show, but to the people in front of her, money can pay a bill. Fame can buy attention. But only consequences can build character. And character is the one thing in this world you can't outsource to anyone else. If you've stayed through this whole story, you already know what to do. Hit like, subscribe. And tell me in the comments, did Daisy get what she deserved? And would you have done what Nora did, turn down the hush money and fight it out in court? Remember, respect costs you nothing, but as Daisy Collins learned the hard way, disrespect can cost you everything.